what's the next step for collaboration and social business? Where do you see the future going?
I see social becoming very boring. I don't see people raving about social business in 5 years. I see people just doing business. Mm-hmm. We've done business for tens of thousands of years, and we've always been social in that process. We've just never raved about it until we had a tool to rave about. So I see those social capabilities becoming a lot more normal, in the same way that a mobile device is now pretty normal for most people, and having a GPS capability is pretty normal in this country, and having a camera is pretty normal in this country. I see the same with social. I see the focus more on data, not just in terms of the social graph, because who speaks to who and what are they speaking about, and when do they speak, and why do they speak, and where are they when they speak, and how they interact, and what are those second, third, and fourth levels of interaction of that data. I see the data of interest being a more personal data. What are you doing with my data? It's my data. How are you using it? And I think Snowden and PRISM changed a lot of things in people's minds. Why is it that the government are interested in that? For pretty good reasons. But we're very upset about the government's doing that. But yet, if we look at it really, we've got public companies who are unaccountable with more access to that sort of information than the spies do. So what does it say about us as a society, and what is the response? And I think there'll be more of a, no, you need to pay for my data. I'm no longer the product. So I see social being changed dramatically, really. In the same way that the proposition of cloud has changed since Snowden and since PRISM.
You mentioned cloud there. How does the cloud and mobile and big data and any other trends that we could care to mention fit into this future?
Cloud changes everything, really. Cloud, I believe, was originally quite attractive because it tended to come with a software as a service commercial model, a utility-based model that said you only pay for what you use, you only pay for what you get, you can onboard very quickly, you can offboard very quickly, and that was an initial draw. It's introduced a number of complexities though, because if I take your application, if I'm the cloud vendor and I take your application, in the minds of some people, I now own your problem. But I don't. You're still responsible for your data, for your conformance to DPA requirements. You're responsible for pretty much everything. I just happen to feed and water your system. So the shift in mindset of people who are initially very interested in cloud is being tempered by the realities of what they're actually getting. The ability of organizations to place different services in different places is also interesting. So our Smart Cloud solution, for example, is a cloud-based solution, and I can very comfortably incorporate other people's cloud solutions as part of it. So I'm working with one of our partners to embed a telephony capability, which you can simply switch on and switch off and use in a utility-based model, like that. And yet, that doesn't sit on my premises, it sits somewhere else. The billing is fairly transparent. That's a real attractive proposition for many organizations because they no longer have to wait for me to provide a telephony capability in the same way that they historically would have. And similarly, we can just partner with anyone, say, well, you want a digital signing mechanism, you can have it. You want a meeting mechanism, you can have it. We may provide it or someone else may provide it, but that architectural flexibility is quite profound. It's allowed people to decide how they want to build solutions, what standards they want, what geographies they want to be. They may, for example, say, well, I don't want it based in the US, I want it based in Germany, I want it based in Japan. Well, the option's there. The experience is exactly the same. And that is a real game changer. People will expect that as business as usual. I don't see people, again, raving about cloud solutions in 5 years. It will be a given.
So 5 years from now, then, in terms of collaboration and social business, if we were to future gaze, what would you expect to be talking about 5 years from now? And conversely, what trends would you expect to not be talking about?
I wouldn't expect to be talking about mobile as a trend. Mobile is a given. And I think seeing all these graphs of mobile overtaking desktop, I think are quite boring now. That, surprisingly though, isn't the same in every country. So if you look at India, that's absolutely overtaken it. But if you look at the UK, we're no way catching up with desktop. Desktops are still the major system, but I don't think that's probably part of our culture. So I think we'll get bored with the topic. I don't think we'll be talking about whether things should be on the cloud or not in 5 years. That's a given. I do believe that we'll be obsessing a lot more about data, where the data is stored, how the data is tracked, who has access to the data, and also the implicit information around the data. So we've got organizations at the moment who are tightly controlled about what they can analyze. So if you were a public limited company, there would be a lot of controls in place around the kind of data you could mine and what you would be entitled to do with it. Yet I can, as an individual, download some open source software that allows me to do exactly what they're doing, but the controls aren't overtly placed on me. So I think people will become a lot more aware in the broader society about what the options are for data and what they should and shouldn't be doing. There'll be a cultural maturity around responsibility with that data as time goes on.